celebration for our great city, the city of DeSoto, Texas. Let's give DeSoto Texas. It is my honor to welcome each and every one of you on this gloomy Saturday morning. You know what? It may be a little bit gloomy outside, but it is golden on the inside. The sun is truly shining in this room, and the reason why is because of you. You know, I was amazed as I reflected on this day and this great celebration, and I thought about when Leon and I moved to this city. It was in 1977, and we had no idea that we were moving to a city so young in terms of its date of incorporation. And so, again, just to stand here a few years later, and just a few years, and to be your mayor, it is my honor just to introduce myself to those who may not know me, and I believe we are recording this, so let me do it right. I am Kirstine S. McCowan, Kirstine Smith McCowan, the proud mayor of the All-America City. Acknowledge and greet our former mayors who are here at this time. Mayor Michael Hurt. All right. Mayor Bobby Waddle. And I believe our former mayor and state representative Carl Sherman just may be on his way, but we're going to keep things moving. And then it is also my honor to acknowledge our council members who are here. Our Mayor Pro Tem, the Honorable Rachel Proctor. We have the Honorable Candace Quarles. Also the Honorable Nicole Raphael. And the Honorable Kinsey Moore. Joining us a little bit later, and we will acknowledge them at that time. On our staff, we have, I see our Deputy City Manager, Letitia Shelton. And in the back, our Communications Manager, Matt Smith. Our City Secretary, Keisha Morris. Right here up front, as always, Captain Justice. I need you to give a round of applause for this group over here, the Golden Voices. Her cheering squad. Now, I'm going to do this just, if there are any board and commission members, just in the interest of time, I'm not going to call your names, but would you please stand up? Because all board and commission members. Thank you so much. Okay. We've done those acknowledgments, and we may be doing some more. Did I miss any of the staff in the room? Okay. Okay, we will keep moving. Again, you know, this is such an exciting day in the city of DeSoto. Where I come from in East Texas, we call it a birthday celebration. And, you know, I'm a country girl, so this is a celebration of DeSoto's birthday. I'm just going to leave it at that. And we will celebrate here this morning. We have an exciting program in store for you. And when we leave here, we're going to continue the party. And I'll announce it again, but we will be going to the Grow DeSoto Marketplace, our small business incubator. So we want to celebrate here and then move on over to the marketplace. Now, without further ado, I would like to just let you know how the program will flow this morning. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags by Ebony Moss, DeSoto High School. The National Anthem, Morris Edmond with the Golden Voices. The Invocation by Pastor Kelly Warburton with Campton Road Baptist Church. And then I will come back to introduce or present Representative Sherman. Hopefully he will join us by that time. So, Ebony, would you please come?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated.
Let's stand remaining as we pray. And honored Miss Mayor, thank you for this honor. Let's pray. Father, we do come before you with humble hearts today as we come celebrating 70 years that were guided first by you. We thank you so much for the City Council and our Mayor that we still, even in this day and time, start each meeting off asking you to guide and direct and to give wisdom. We pray that you would continue to bless our City of DeSoto. Continue to enrich us, continue to diversify us, continue to bring unity within us. And we also ask that you continue to do a work in our school system. We thank you for the man of God that you have brought our way to lead us. And I do pray that you would bring unity with the school board and the teachers as they get behind this man who we as a city stand behind during this time. What an important position he holds. Bless him. Give him wisdom beyond his years. And then, God, we do pray for the business and the economics here in DeSoto. You have blessed us with this incubator. As I have walked through there are so many people who are striving to just set goals and to enrich our city and their own lives. Bless them, enrich them, give them success as we continue to look beyond what we've done in the past, but as we continue to enrich our citizens. God, we love you. Be with us now as we continue to celebrate what you have done first in our lives, and then we celebrate the lives that you've brought to DeSoto who have enriched this community in so many ways. And these things we ask in your blessed and holy name. Amen.
Amen. National anthem, Mr. Edmund. It was beautiful.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Another round of applause for that. Thank you. And I'd also like to thank our wonderful student representing DeSoto High School, Ebony Miles. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to call up Mayor Bobby Waddle, former mayor, who was the 19th mayor. And you know what, Mayor Waddle, I would also like Mayor Michael Hurt to come stand with us as we present this proclamation. And Mayor Waddle, if you could come on this side. And then, thank you. I need the balance. Thank you so much. Whereas DeSoto was first settled in 1847 as one of the oldest communities in North Texas, being named in honor of Thomas Hernando DeSoto Stewart, who was a doctor dedicated to the community. So let me say that name again. It was Thomas Hernando DeSoto Stewart. I didn't know they had that many names back then. By 1885, DeSoto was home to approximately 120 people, a cotton gin, and a general store. And whereas after World War II, DeSoto and surrounding areas began to grow in order to improve the inadequate water distribution system, residents were compelled to incorporate the town on February 17th, 1949. A petition signed by 42 eligible voters was presented to the Dallas County Judge requesting an election for incorporation. And whereas the election was held on March 2nd, 1949, Now let's just pause for a minute. March 2nd, 1949, 70 years ago, with 50 votes in favor of incorporation and 2 opposed. The results of the election were entered into the record of Dallas County Commissioners Court, thereby creating the City of DeSoto. The newly incorporated city was less than 1 square mile in size, and whereas on March 15, 1949, Wayne A. Chowning was elected mayor, along with 5 council members, with the first city council meeting being held 2 days later on March 17, 1949. The first census conducted after DeSoto's incorporation in 1950 recorded 298 residents and 8 businesses in the city. And whereas the City of DeSoto continued to thrive in business and in population, surpassing 30,000 in the 1990s. On June 11, 2006, the National League of Cities named DeSoto an All-America City. And guess who was mayor at that time? None other than the gentleman standing to my left, the Honorable Michael Herbert. So DeSoto was designated as an All-America City, elected their first African-American mayor, Carl O. Sherman Sr., in 2010. Could you come up, Representative Sherman? Stand with us. There we go. So that is the 20th mayor, now state representative, to whom this refers. Good morning. Okay, let me continue. And now we elected the first African-American mayor in 2010, and then the city elected its first female mayor, Kirsten S. McCallum, in 2016. And whereas the city continues to experience population and economic development growth, and today more than 53,000 people call the City of DeSoto home, and a community steeped in history and poised for the future. And now therefore, I, Kirsten S. McCallum, by the power vested in me by the state of Texas, Dallas County, and mayor of the City of DeSoto, Texas, and on behalf of the City Council, do hereby celebrate the 70th year of progression in DeSoto, and do hereby urge all citizens and the surrounding communities to join us in our honoring our All-American City. In official recognition whereof I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of DeSoto, Texas, to be affixed this second day of March 2019, exactly 70 years from the date of incorporation. And in official recognition whereof, as I said, on this second day of March 2019. This is signed by yours truly, Kirsten S. McCallum, Mayor, and attested to by Keisha Morris Perkins, our City Secretary. Let's give our city another. Thank you so much. I have all 3 of the mayors here, but we decided that the mayor who's been living, who grew up here, went off to the military, served, some 30 years in the service, retired pilot, Bobby Waddle, you get to receive this today.
I think, as the mayor indicated, there were 40 42 residents in DeSoto, and I knew some of those, be the first mayor. And to be here today, and think all this water is going under the bridge, and look at DeSoto today, 50,000 plus, with a wide place in the road back then. And it's so exciting to see the community, the city that you grew up in, emerge as a premier city. We have a lot of great things going for us, and we need to continue that. And with the leadership that you have in DeSoto, I expect that to continue. But I know there are probably some in the room that may have lived here and been here a little longer than I have, but it's just remarkable to see this type of growth. You know, where I live, kind of out on Cockrell Hill Road, I thought it used to be country, and it all was. There are 200 homes going across the road from where I live. And that's when you really begin to realize, hey, things are changing big time. And so, Mayor, it's a real honor to be recognized today, and all of the mayors here that we all serve together. And now we've got Carl down in the state, so we still got representation, you know. So now I'm going to step away and give the mic to Mayor Hurt and Mayor Sherman, and they probably have a few words.
No, he's coming up later.
I didn't know I'd get an opportunity to say thank you, but this is truly a wonderful, wonderful community. I was not born here, but I came here in 1988, and I've watched DeSoto grow and become better in every way. And it's just been great to be an integral part of it. And I thank you, the citizens, for being active, caring about your community, and caring about the city you live in and love. Thank you.
This time, we have with us Representative Sherman. It's your time. We have a resolution coming from the state of Texas House of Representatives. Let's welcome our Representative Carl Sherman Sr.
Well, how about DeSoto? There's something special about this city. And I am grateful that Michelle and I have been able to raise our 5 children here, and they've grown up DeSoto pride, with pride in our city. On yesterday, I had a visit at the Capitol on Thursday from one of our residents here. I never met the lady, I never met her daughter, but I got an opportunity to meet them on Thursday. And didn't know they were from DeSoto, didn't know we actually live in the same community. But I met them at the Capitol because they were advocating for something that was extremely important to them. But I got to tell you that all they talked about was Pam Dawson and how much she has poured into their family, her musical skills and talents. We've got something special about this place, no matter where we go. It seems like we find somebody from DeSoto. Years ago, mayors, you will appreciate this, I was in Atlanta with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I went out for lunch. And I went to this Dave & Buster's place. And so I ordered my lunch, and the waiter asked what did I want to drink. I said apple juice. And the young man looked at me and he said, apple juice? He said, sir, you need some grown-up apple juice. And he gave me what, for the first time I ever drank, was Angry Orchard. And those of you who don't know what Angry Orchard is, it's a beer, but it tastes like apple juice. And we got to talking, and I really liked this young man. His whole temperament, his disposition is so positive and uplifting. So he asked me, though, where I was from. I said, DeSoto. I'm the mayor of DeSoto. He said, DeSoto? I'm from DeSoto. He says, I'm out here doing a movie. And he played in The Little Rascals. So it was great to see DeSoto everywhere I go. I want to say this because there's something unique and special about the fabric of the people here. And when we are celebrating, we all celebrate. The community comes together. And when we mourn, we all mourn together. And so I want to ask you to pray for our good friend, Senator Royce West, whose father passed away on yesterday. And I talked to him yesterday, and he was in good spirits. He said his father had lived a good, long life. He was 91 when he passed away. But no matter how old your father is, it still hurts. So I know that from experience. I just eulogized my father about 3 weeks ago, and so Senator West was in the audience along with your mayor, and I appreciate their support. Today I bring a resolution to my hometown, though I wasn't born here as well, Mayor Hurt. I heard about this city in high school my senior year, and the substitute of my school bragged about this city. And so I made it my intent, or it was my intent that I would move here and bring my wife here. I wasn't married then. And bring my children here. I didn't have any children then. But God afforded me that opportunity. We celebrate 70 years, and I began to think about what happened in 1949. What was historical? And NATO was formed in 1949. The North American Treaty Organization was formed by the United States, Canada, and Western European countries to protect us from the Soviet Union. My, seems we're playing Russian roulette right now. In 1949, you could buy a loaf of bread for 13 cents. In 1949, the average American family made $3,100 in 1949. And in 1949, Harry S. Truman was our president, and he introduced his cabinet as the fair deal. I wasn't here. You remember that, Bobby? Okay. So today we celebrate 70 years. Resolution, whereas proud residents of DeSoto are gathering at City Hall on March 2nd, 2019 to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the incorporation of the community. And whereas the first settlers were farmers who arrived in the immediate area in 1847, and a general merchandise store built to meet the demand for goods opened about a year later. In 1881, the settlement received a post office, and its name, DeSoto, in honor of beloved physician Dr. Thomas Hernando DeSoto Stewart. And whereas recognizing the need for an improved water distribution system after World War II, the town's residents presented a petition to the Dallas County Judge requesting an election for incorporation. The measure passed on March 2nd, 1949, and the city of DeSoto was created. It had a population of approximately 400 people, and whereas one of the oldest settlements in North Texas, DeSoto is today a thriving and vibrant community of more than 53,000 residents nestled among the trees and rolling hills of southwestern Dallas County. It is a city with a record of exemplary community engagement and has been named as a National Civic League All-America City in honor of its civic spirit. And whereas DeSoto offers welcoming neighborhoods and schools and an expanded park system, and its residents may indeed take pride in their history as they look forward to a bright and prosperous future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the 70th anniversary of incorporation of DeSoto be commemorated at the city's residence. Be extended sincere best wishes for the future. Carl Sherman, your first African American mayor, state representative, because of your support. District 109, thanks you very much. I love my DeSoto. God bless you.
Sherman. Now at this time, I have the pleasure of introducing, or you've already introduced her, but bringing her up, and you can bring your daughter up with you if you'd like, because we want our city to continue to grow, and she represents our future. So help me welcome the Honorable Candace Quarles.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So this is Avery. Go ahead and step out a little bit. She wore her best dress today. So I'm on the program to represent to recognize the other elected officials. I know Mayor McCowan did that already, but I've seen a few come in since then. Is there anyone here from Congresswoman Johnson's office at this time? Go ahead and stand up.
My name is Susan. Congratulations, beautiful event, and here on behalf of the Congresswoman. And I actually have a letter as well.
Got it. Okay. Well, go ahead and bring that up. You're our hand. And also I want to recognize Councilwoman Kay Brown Patrick, our newest councilwoman from the City of DeSoto. Go ahead and stand up. Stand up where you are. And then I also want to recognize my colleague to the left who will be leading us on the council pretty soon, my main man, Mr. Richard D. North. And then as I read this proclamation from the Senator's office, is there anyone from Senator West's office at this time? Just wanted to make sure they told us, and I want to be clear. Okay. I've been practicing this one, y'all. So let's go. Whereas the Senate of the State of Texas is pleased to recognize the City of DeSoto, which is celebrating 70 years of growth and progress on March 2nd, 2019. And whereas one of the oldest communities in Texas, the DeSoto area was first settled in 1847, the area saw notable growth after World War II, and residents sought to incorporate the community to improve water distribution. A Dallas County judge approved the petition for a vote of incorporation in February of 1949, and the community members favored the establishment of the city by a majority vote on March 2nd, 1949. The city was less than 1 square mile in size. And whereas the DeSoto population increased during the mid-1900s, and by 1953, a series of annexations had expanded the city's boundaries to cover 15 square miles. Between 1960 and 2010, the population grew from 2,000 residents to 49,000. And whereas the citizens of DeSoto have benefited from the broad-ranging economic development, and an array of local businesses and organizations have helped the community to flourish. And in 2006, DeSoto was recognized and honored as an All-America City by the National League of Cities. And whereas members of the community have joined together for a city birthday celebration at the DeSoto City Hall exactly 70 years after the city's residents voted for incorporation, citizens can indeed take pride in DeSoto's rich history while looking forward to a bright and prosperous future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Senate of the State of Texas, the 86th Legislature, hereby commend the citizens of DeSoto for helping to build a thriving community in North Texas, and extend them to the best wishes for a memorable 70th birthday celebration. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be prepared for the city as a memento of this special occasion, signed by the President of the Senate, Dan Patrick, and also signed by our Senator, Boris West. Thank you. shift with Senator Cruz's office. He's also here to be recognized, so thank you. Any other elected officials? So I'm super excited about the future of our city. As you can see, I have a 4-year-old, and when we talk about the things that we do on the city council, I always think of how's that going to look for her? What's that going to look like with her 16 and 17-year-old friends, like want to go and hang out and do things in the city? And I'm excited about that. Also happy to play a small part. And thank you for everyone being here today to celebrate our city's birthday. Happy birthday, DeSoto.
Thank you to both of you for being here today. And so we will continue our program with the Golden Voices, absolutely one of my favorite groups. The Golden Voices Choir, for those of you who may not know, they really get together at our senior center, DeSoto Senior Center, and they have performed all over this city, and we so appreciate them. This morning, they will be singing I Stepped Out. And so, help me welcome the Golden Voices. the city of DeSoto has. And it's only by his grace and his mercy that we've been allowed to step out. So let's keep stepping out, DeSoto. At this time, it is my honor to bring up our Mayor Pro Tem, the Honorable Rachel Proctor, who will introduce our special guest today. Mayor Pro Tem Proctor, please come.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Or should I say good morning, DeSoto? Good morning. Good morning. I'm like Mayor Sherman and many others that have come before me. I was not born in DeSoto, but I got here as soon as I could in the 3rd grade. How about that? So I actually grew up seeing DeSoto through a very set of young, impressionable eyes. And I can truly say that I have seen the city of DeSoto grow. I can remember even being with Kathy's daughter, Megan. We graduated together. I can remember on Friday nights after the football games, hanging out in the Whataburger parking lot even before this whole project was built. So I have some very great memories. Growing up here in the city and being a DeSoto graduate is one of the things that gives me the most pride. And with that being said, I do see some DeSoto ISD trustees that are in our audience, actually current trustees as well as former trustees. If you would stand so that we can acknowledge you.
Yes, thank you.
I see several. Thank you for your service as well. Thank you for your service. And so with that being said, I want to introduce our next presenter, Miss Toni Simmons, and we are definitely in for a treat. She brings her presentation, just her presence is always very captivating. And so we're excited to have her with us today. Miss Toni Simmons, she's an author and storyteller, and she's graduated from Fisk University where she majored in speech and drama. And after receiving a master's degree in library science, she began working as a children's librarian, combining her knowledge of children's literature and creative drama in storytelling sessions. And as a professional storyteller, she brings to the stories new life with the use of rhythms, songs, and audience participation, which places them in the story. Her work appeals to audiences of all ages, young and old, and includes a wide variety of literature from different cultures. Toni was designated as a National Endowment for the Arts American Masterpiece Touring Artist. She also is a Texas Commission on the Arts touring artist, and her talents have reached audiences in schools, museums, theaters, and libraries across the United States and in Germany, South Africa, Mexico, and the Bahamas. Toni also now serves as the director of the Zula B. Wiley Public Library in Cedar Hill, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Toni Morris as she presents The Story of DeSoto.
Oh, no, I know 70 years is a long time. How many 70-year-olds in here? Yeah. But DeSoto started long before 70 years. In fact, it was in 1881 when the first post office was opened. Wow. Now, it was at the crossroads of two wagon trails that ran from the north to Dallas, south to Shiloh, east to Lancaster, and west to Cedar Hill. Now that's the intersection of what? Hampton and Beltline Roads. Now, they chose the name DeSoto for that post office, naming it after Thomas Hernando DeSoto Stewart, their beloved country doctor who would travel by horseback to see his patients at any time needed. Remember the days of house calls? Well, even in 1881, they loved their town and their doctor. And if they were here with us today, they too would be singing, DeSoto, we want you to know. They were hard-working farming families like these. Let me tell you about a few. As I said, DeSoto was and is about love. Did you know that the first marriage license in Dallas County was issued to DeSoto residents Crawford and Anna Trees in 1846? Yes, the Trees had farmed on South Cockrell Hill, where their great-grandson, Farmer Mayor Barney and farmed. Some of the Trees' property is where the current high school is. Oh, their marriage license is in the cornerstone of the old red Dallas County Courthouse. Now, another pioneer was Dr. Sam Nate Parks. He received a Carnegie Medal for attempting to rescue and save a well digger from suffocation in 1909. Another was Thomas Cheshire. He was recognized in a state news article in 1852 for growing the largest sweet potato in the state. He weighed 5 pounds, 5 ounces. Wow. Everett Davis built the first brick house and shopping center in DeSoto. You remember that, somebody? And the Judah brothers, they owned and ran the first general store. O.B. Nance settled in DeSoto, and he built Nance Farm. That's DeSoto's only registered historical site. He even found dinosaur bones on his farm. Yes. Kate and Annie Hill had Bonnie and Clyde spend the night in their house when they were just passing through. Now, these families were amazing. Yes. And many of their descendants still live in the area. For several years, they held multi-family reunions here in DeSoto. DeSoto remained a quiet farming town most of the early 1900s. And it wasn't until the population boom after the war that they saw the need to build a water line. You see, in 1936, there were only 97 people in DeSoto. But by 1950, there were 298. That growth caused the townspeople to decide that they needed to improve their inadequate water system. On February 17, 1949, 42 eligible voters signed a petition for an election that was held on March 2nd, 1949. 50 votes were cast in favor of incorporation, and only 2 opposed. And DeSoto became an incorporated city. That's why we're here today, right? That's why we're celebrating and singing. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love DeSoto. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love DeSoto. Later, they elected the first city council with Wayne Chowning as mayor. Now that they were a city, they still had to dig that water line. To save money and not levy taxes, which is always a good thing, the city leaders decided that they would dig the water line themselves. Every evening after their day jobs, they took turns digging and digging and digging until it was done. Now that's love for DeSoto, right? Yes, it is. Now, DeSoto continued its growth in the 1960s, but it was still primarily a farming community. Things may have been quiet here in DeSoto, but the rest of the country was experiencing the effects of the war, the civil rights movement, and the assassination of President Kennedy in nearby Dallas. You remember that civil rights movement? Do you remember the marches of Dr. King? During the 1970s, the population grew to 6,000. There were 71 businesses in DeSoto, but it was still really a small town. Yes. Builders and developers began to take an interest in DeSoto. Yes. And you know what? Baseball legend Mickey Mantle invested in what is now known as Mantlebrook Subdivision. He was here for the groundbreaking. Oh, everybody had DeSoto fever. You remember that? And they were still singing, DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. The superconducting Super Collider project hit DeSoto in the 1980s. You remember that? Oh, the headquarters was here in DeSoto. And many of the scientists and staff chose DeSoto as their home. About 1,600 workers were believed to have relocated to this area. Yes, beautiful neighborhoods like Frost Farms, Silver Creek Estates, Windmill Hills sprung up to provide luxury housing. The population was now about 15,000. Oh, the 80s. Oh, the 80s were great. Kids were playing Nintendo. We were watching movies like Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. You remember those? The Berlin Wall crumbled. And we were all dancing to Michael Jackson songs. Oh, yes. You remember that? DeSoto's population doubled to 30,000 in the 1990s. And even though Congress stopped the Super Collider project, they didn't stop DeSoto's growth. This town center was built during that time to house City Hall, a new recreation center, new civic center, and new library. But barely a year later, tragedy struck. A tornado hit DeSoto. There was significant damage. That twister picked up a car from the parking lot and threw it into the wall in the city manager's office. Oh, I remember that night hiding in a closet and seeing a cloud of black dirt coming up to the windows of our house. It was like a scene from the movie Twister, which came out a few years later. Now, that wasn't the first time DeSoto was hit by a tornado. There was one in 1979 that damaged several hundred homes and businesses. And again in 1985. But each time, DeSoto continued to rebuild. Now, the demographics began a gradual change about this time. And DeSoto became very diverse. They elected its first African-American city councilman, Phil Jones. And with that diversity, the love for DeSoto just grew even more. And they kept on singing, DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. The millennium came. You remember that, getting ready for that? And by 2005, there were 45,000 people in DeSoto. Oh, everyone wanted to live in DeSoto. It was considered the most diverse city in southern Dallas County. Yes, it was. And you know what? There was a huge residential boom. But in 2006, DeSoto was awarded the All-American City Award. And the schools, which expanded with all the city's growth, were outstanding in academics and athletics, producing several national merit scholars and winning many state championships. Several of their scholar athletes have gone on to careers in professional sports. And that's surely enough to sing about, isn't it? Yeah. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. DeSoto has had very many firsts. Carl Sherman, you saw him earlier, was elected in 2010 as the first African-American mayor. Curtis D. McCowan was elected in 2016 as the first female mayor. Yes, DeSoto has come a long way from that quiet farming town to a thriving suburb. But as a 1960s resident of DeSoto, Chris Lippert, wrote in her poem, DeSoto, my hometown, it will always remain home. Here are her words. DeSoto, my hometown. I live in a bustling, thriving town, just a stone's throw from Dallas. And my house is just the average kind, not a mansion or a palace. The town is growing by leaps and bounds, with many new homes and new shops. And folks by the dozens are moving in because they think our town is tops. We're proud of our wonderful school system. And school spirit is really true blue. We're proud of our town's religious pulse and proud of our churches, too. The living pace is slower here. People aren't scurrying to and fro. The automobiles have lowered their speeds, not dashing to and fro. The people here are a friendly sort. They'll greet you with a smile, and a handshake or a tip of the hat is never out of style. It's great to live in big cities, known the world over for all their fame. But give me a town in the suburbs, and DeSoto is its name. Now those words stand true today. So let's celebrate our love for DeSoto, and let's sing once more. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto, we love you so. Come on. DeSoto, we want you to know. DeSoto. Happy birthday, DeSoto.
Thank you, Toni Simmons. All the way now from Houston, Texas. Yeah, she is all over the place. Toni, that really was magnificent. DeSoto, we love you so. We just want you to know. That's awesome. And I didn't know she had backup. You know, this is just incredible. You know, when I asked the city manager and our council and our team to do a 70th birthday celebration, and Toni, we knew if anybody could tell our story, because you're DeSoto too. You're just in Houston for a while because of her husband's business. Yeah, and her children graduated very successfully, doing very successful now, and graduated from our very own DeSoto High School. And see, we never know, and I'm not going to start crying, but the talent that we have, sometimes we underestimate ourselves. And so, this DeSoto, we love you so. We've got to keep that going. We just want the world to know. At this time, let us move to the recognition of longtime residents. And I am delighted to bring up the Honorable Councilwoman, Nicole Raphael. Nicole?
I wish I had backup, but I don't. So, I love you so. I'll leave it right there. All right, well, I am tasked with recognizing our long-term residents. And so, with that being said, I want to make certain everyone is recognized. If you've lived here longer than 30 years in the city of DeSoto, could you please stand? Wow. Be seated. There are a few people of you that I want to pointedly recognize, and so one of those individuals is our former pro tem, Patricia Ledbetter, as well, there she is, as well as our former fire chief, Fred Hart. And then I want to give her this recognition, Miss Linda Duff. She was the first African-American female to run for mayor. She wasn't successful, however, she put her name in the hat. And so could you raise your hand, Miss Duff? Thank you. All right, so in 1949, on Thursday, February 17th, 1949, there's an individual who's in this room who was 25 years old. And during that year, there were 298 people who lived in the city of DeSoto. She was one of them. Homes were only $7,500. She had gas was 17 cents a gallon. Imagine that. And the minimum wage was 70 cents. Who knew? So now, I would like for Miss Bonnie Wilford to stand up. She's the oldest. And she has been here since 1924. Would you like to come and share a memory with us? A quick memory?
Yes.
You know what? I've already said it all. I guess we can all say DeSoto. I was born in 1924 down on Hampton Road. Right across, not on Hampton Road, on Beltline, where the big church is now. And we only had two churches in 1924, 25. It was the Church of Christ. Down the street from one block was the Baptist Church. And that's only two churches we had. You had to go every Sunday to that church. Down the road on Beltline, we had a little skating rink. And Mr. Tipton's was the owner. He would let us kids come and dance, and then he would let us skate. And it was all free. There was about 10 of us, I would say. We walked from the middle of DeSoto, which is right here in Hampton and Pleasant Run. We would walk to down here where 35 is, just having a ball. We didn't care if we was running, walking, riding, or what. So one night, we all decided we wasn't going to go to church. And that is a no in DeSoto. Everybody had to go to church. Well, this Saturday night, Friday, Saturday night, we said we're not going to go to church. Let's walk down to Tipton's. Let's go skating. Let's go dancing. Let's have fun. Well, there were some old guys, but Kantner, our little mayor right here. We all went down there, and Mr. Tipton's, after we skated for maybe 30, 40 minutes, he said, let's do something else. Let's all learn how to dance. Well, we all got together, what few of us. Well, here comes my daddy. And I was dancing, having ball, not all of us together. He comes along and he said, y'all having a good time? He had an old Model T4 truck. And he said, are y'all having fun? We said, sure. You know, why not? So he walks up to me, and I was dancing with Buck Carpenter. I don't know if y'all remember. He said, you having fun, Bonnie Reed? It's my middle name. I said I wasn't until I saw you. And he said, you kids are ready to go home? And they all said, yes, we're ready to go. Well, I only have room for one. And that's Bonnie Reed, and I know she's going home. So we all had fun when we were kids. We had nothing to do. We walked and visited, had a good time everywhere we went. So enjoy DeSoto, because I've been here since 1924. All right.
Thank you so much. We're in for all kinds of surprises today. I do want to acknowledge one more first in our community, and that is Mr. Ned Harris, who is the first African-American postmaster. I think that's appropriate. He's on the DeSoto, Texas Historical Foundation board, and back there working at the table. Wow, hasn't this been a great day? You know, DeSoto is an all-American city, rich in history and educational opportunities. Wasn't this educational today? Yeah. And we are a city where people come to live, work, and play in a safe, attractive, prosperous, and culturally inclusive community that is a destination for the arts, entertainment, and sports. Now, DeSoto, that is our vision. We may not be there yet, but we're striving to get there. And again, DeSoto, we love you so. We want all of you to know, and we want to continue this celebration. It has been magnificent. You know, as I look out in the audience, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge two of the, well, actually 3 organizations that have been leaders in this community for many, many years. And I may overlook some, but because they're so active, I have to acknowledge the DeSoto Rotary Club and all of that gold which is stand. And we have our fire chief, former fire chief, who is the president of the Lions Club. Will the Lions please stand? The members of the Lions Club. Our council member North, and I know if Renee were here, our parks and rec director, she would be standing proudly as well. But these are 2 of the oldest. Then one organization that's celebrating 30 years. I was looking for our president, Pastor Kurt Crone, but Concerned DeSoto Citizens. Let's give them a hand. Are there any other organizations in the audience? We're talking about DeSoto's history and those who are very committed to public service. Would you please just stand and state what organization you represent? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to announce that we owned and operated Jackson, Texas for 40 years.
Wow, that's right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, DeSoto? Oh, did I overlook someone? Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Mayor, I just want to say that in 1987, I was appointed the first African American to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission for DeSoto.
Make sure we record that. Would you state your name?
From 1987 to 1992, I think it was. I served a 4 to 5 year term on the Planning and Zoning. Glenda Bates.
Thank you. Let us really show appreciation to all of our program participants today. Kathy, I'm looking at you. Is there anything?
Maybe recognize the Historical Foundation for putting this great thing together.
Yeah, and the arts. The Historical Foundation. I recognize the board and commission members earlier, but we really do need to recognize the Historical Foundation. Our council liaison for historical is Councilwoman Candace Quarles, but would the foundation board members please stand? Before we recess to cut the cake, we are going out to cut the cake and sing happy birthday to DeSoto. And from here, I want to remind you to please visit the DeSoto, Grow DeSoto Marketplace, our small business incubator. There are activities going on over there, and the entrepreneurs who have businesses there are looking for you today to stop in to say hello. Come on. I'm going to get Kathy to help me with announcements. That's okay.
And our last announcement is the Historical Foundation's worked really hard to put together a great pop-up exhibit of DeSoto history. So be sure and browse that as you get your cake, and we're going to go over there now and sing happy birthday. Thanks everybody. Great.
Happy birthday.